Wednesday afternoon, folks, and welcome back to Myrtle Beach Living Live. I'm Todd Cartner, your host. Sorry, it is a little bit of a delay today. We had a little bit of technical issues in the back end that were all my fault. I know that's hard to believe, but anyway, that's the way it works. And so we're going to have a wonderful guest on today. It's Dana Bentz, and she is from Portland, Oregon. She is an awesome person with StreamYarding and doing live streams, and we're going to talk to her here. And I am excited to get her on. Like I said, she is with StreamYard, which is the software that we use to do the show. And if you guys have any questions, please make sure you feel free to put those in the comments at your social media that you're watching on, and we'll be glad to get those on live with Dana. Or you can give us a call at 843-246-7474. And there's Dana.
Hello. Thanks so much for having me on the show, Todd.
Thank you. I'm sorry we had that technical issues there. I don't know what happened, but
I know it happens. It happens with tech.
That's true. And live.
Yeah, exactly.
I restarted my computer, and when I did, there were like 6 updates that had to happen.
Oh,
I'm
my
like,
gosh.
So
yeah, not the time.
Right
before the show.
That's true. So we've got that on, and look who's on here. Imagine that.
Hey, Kelsey. Kelsey's my sister, for those of you who are watching. Thanks for tuning in, Kels.
And she's saying hey to me, too. So
what's up, Todd?
3 of us have spent a lot of time together over the last few months, right?
Yeah.
On one show or another. That's crazy. So
fun. She's going to be on the show, too, isn't she?
Yes.
On Myrtle Beach?
Hopefully, very soon. I think the 11th. I think she needs to confirm that, but yeah, we'll find that out. So, like I said, guys, just make sure that if you have any comments, that you can put those in the section below you, and we'll be able to get those on here as well. And Kelsey says that she loves your top.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I think she has a matching one. I think that's why.
That's awesome. So
love it. Thanks, Kelsey.
All right, so Kelsey, Kelsey. Look, I'm thinking Kelsey. Tell us a little bit about yourself. I already said you're from Portland, but I think you're from Portland. I know you live there. So so just tell us a little bit about yourself, and
we'll start with that.
Yeah, we'll start with that.
Yeah. So as you can see, I'm here in Portland. Not born, but definitely raised. I was born actually in California. And I've been in the marketing and sales industry for, I don't know, since I got out of college. So my background's in actually real estate, marketing and sales. And then about a year ago, I know we're going to talk about that on the show, but about a year ago, I really wanted to make the transition into like the startup world or like the tech world. And I really didn't know how to do that coming from real estate, because real estate is it's becoming a little bit more tech-y, but I feel like people are not innovating as much as they should or as much as they could be. And so that's why I really wanted to make this switch to the startup lifestyle. And StreamYard was just such a great way for me to do that. So like I said, about a year ago, I joined the team at StreamYard, and now I am head of marketing at StreamYard Inc.
That's awesome. How did you find StreamYard?
It's actually a fun story. So people ask me that all the time because it's pretty random. I'm in Portland. The 2 founders were actually in Canada, but I went to school with one of the co-founders. We went to high school together way back in the day. So I had kept in touch with them. We kind of just were acquaintances. And then it was just kind of the perfect fit, the right time, the right role. They were needing someone to fill this marketing and branding type of role. And I had actually used StreamYard when it very first came out. And I know we're going to talk about that too, my very first live stream show. So I had been around the product itself for so long that I was very familiar with how it worked when I came aboard. Right.
And StreamYard is so easy and user friendly. And I know that's one of the pillars of the company, but it is so easy to use. And of course you see the design and the graphics above here and some of that stuff. I've done those myself, but you can do that as well. Or you can keep it very simple. Let's see if I can show here how you can keep it very simple and just put a plain background.
Yeah.
There you go. Of course, I have lower thirds and the other logo there. We can take that off, and they have the built-in lower thirds here, which boom. So
a lot more boring than your fancy ones, but you can get started with that. Kel says Todd is the graphics king.
I know, I think that.
True. Yeah, you really have made your graphics so like customized, and like when anyone comes to the show, they know exactly what this is. That's what I really like about the show. Like some people just have an intro video that like announces what the show's going to be about. But then if you catch it midway, you're like, I don't really know what this show is. Should I tune in? But yours is like, people know what the show's about the whole way through.
Well, and I like the fact that, we put the time, which is, let's see if I can get this because it's backwards.
Yeah.
Right there. You put the time of the day,
Yeah.
There, so that's kind of neat too. But anyway, you can do your own. But one of the reasons I wanted to have you on the show was that a common question that I get, and that I'm a realtor, is that why do you do a show? Number one, and number two is how do I get started? And we're going to talk about that a little bit too. But this is something you don't know about me. Before I got into real estate, I owned a marketing firm.
Oh, no kidding!
I have switched.
Yeah.
So, it's kind of funny, and it's but yeah. So I have a degree in graphic design and digital arts, and so that's kind of how I get into.
Cool, so cool, Todd.
So it is. So yeah, it's just a little cool thing. So
in fact,
it was funny that I learned today. As a matter of fact, I was stalking you, and I think I put that before. I stalk you and Kelsey all the time. I literally don't. It's like I'm in your shows all the time.
I know.
But I just learned that you were a realtor. Are you still practicing any real estate at all? Do you still have your license?
So I do still have my license, but I haven't practiced since I joined Streamyard. I'm just keeping my license just in case I want to buy some rentals or something. Sure. I'll keep it for a couple years and see if I use it. And if I don't, I'll just give it up. But for now, it's cheap enough in Oregon to keep your license. Right. So I am still a licensed realtor.
And you touched on it just a moment ago that real estate is really starting to become technical. There's so many things from 360 videos to drone footage. I just got my drone pilot's license last week.
Oh, fun. That's cool. That really makes real estate video shoots really neat, especially if you have anything over an acre. It's like you've got to have a drone footage just to show like the property and the neighborhood. I think that's awesome.
It makes a big difference. And look who's joining us, Mr. Dylan.
Dylan, what's up? Oh, he's on StreamYard Spotlight.
I know. Yeah, we've talked to Dylan a couple times. So glad to have you here.
Has he been on this show, Todd?
He has not yet, but he's on my list to contact because we're booked all the way through the end of the year already.
Oh, yeah. Cool.
So,
well, I'm glad I got a slot.
Well, I've got Kelsey penciled in, and I've got a couple others penciled in, but that we need to do. But I'm a getter, and I will get Dylan on here. That's for sure.
Cool.
So Dana, you do 2 different shows each week. It's hard enough for me to do one sometimes. There have been many days that I sit here and the show's supposed to start at 12:30, and it's 10 after 12, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I got to get ready for the show.
I know.
It is kind of funny, but you do 2 shows. One is called 2 Cents with Bentz, and the other one is StreamYard Spotlight. Tell us a little bit about each of those, if you will.
Sure. So I'll start with 2 Cents with Bentz. So that's the marketing and branding show that I created I think we're going on month 3. So about 2 months ago, I started that show because I previously only had the StreamYard Spotlight show, which was me and my sister, Kelsey, who's in the comments. We both work at StreamYard. So we created a show to spotlight members in the StreamYard community who are using StreamYard in really unique ways. So we had Todd on to show your graphics and talk about how you use StreamYard for real estate. And we had Dylan on, who's in the comments. He talked about ViewStub, which is his company, and how you can make money from your live streams by hosting events and things like that. So we really spotlight different people who have unique StreamYard shows. But that was like for StreamYard. So I decided to create a show that was more like it was my own personal show. So it could be like branded to me, like Dana Bentz instead of StreamYard. So that's when I created 2 Cents with Bentz, where I just interview people in the marketing space, the marketing industry. We talk about video, we talk about live video, we talk about anything marketing and branding. So those are my 2 shows. But I hear you, Todd, that it is hard to put on a show every single week. I don't think I could do it without Kelsey. She helps with both of those. So she helps with the spotlight because she's my co-host. And it's actually easier, in my opinion, to have a show when you have a co-host, because it's kind of like a gym buddy. Like you have to show up. Well, Kelsey's going to be there, so I might as well show up tonight. So that helps a lot. And then she also helps with my 2 Cents show by being my backstage producer. So that's one nice feature of StreamYard, is that you can have someone helping you in the backstage area. So she's never on screen in that show, but she helps to like manage all the comments, and she does all the producing and like blah, blah, blah. Dylan says, I can barely keep up creating content, let alone a full show. I hear ya. Yeah, it's hard. It is hard. But if you have the right people around you helping you, then it gets a little easier.
Now, do you return the favor to Kelsey and help her with her shows?
I do. So I'm actually her backstage producer for Avenue A, which is her acting, her show. It's about acting, networking, and the industry.
Yes. And Kelsey, we'll talk about this, Kelsey, if you're listening. But we had a high school here, and they did the Little Shop of Horrors, and the Dragonfly guy, someone from the New York School of the Arts, was in the audience and offered a full scholarship right on the spot. It was awesome.
No.
Really are good. So I'm trying to track him down to see if we can get him on when Kelsey's on to kind of put them together. So that's
that's a great idea. Idea. Oh, so fun. Thanks for the shout out. Shout out, Kels. Yeah, it's a good show. If anyone in the audience is watching, it's a really good acting show. She just interviews someone different in the acting industry, and they talk about like, how do we stay networking when we're all in lockdown? Like Broadway's shut down. We're the literal dream team. That's so sweet. Thanks, Kels.
So y'all are making me sad, or not, but cry here a little bit. So if either of you need a day off, just let me know and I'll fill in for you. So, I don't know if you know that. I think we talked about it when I was on your show, but Emma, my daughter, who is 14, this is how StreamYard is that Emma was my producer until school started back. So unfortunately, she here's look, Kelsey's.
Oh, nice. That's where you can watch Avenue A.
That's right. There you go. So I love it.
Yeah. So it is as easy that you can have your daughter producing it, or someone else, and they don't even have to be in wherever you are. Like Kelsey's not in Portland, so she just logs into my StreamYard, and then we're both in there.
Right. And it does make such an easier production when you do have a producer. It really does. So
it's hard to manage it all by yourself, because you're like, especially when you have a guest, like if you're just you on screen and then you're able to read the comments and kind of like more of like an interaction with your audience type of show, that's a little bit different. But when you have a guest and you have to be focused on like interviewing, paying attention to the conversation and like what's happening in the chat, like what are Dylan and Kelsey talking about in the chat? Like that's hard. It's super hard to manage without that third person.
And I just realized, and I kind of assumed this, but I just realized Kelsey's the one that puts the comments up on the StreamYard Spotlight, because when I put them up, you read them before I can. So reading them and Kelsey's putting them up. So I got that one.
So funny. That's funny.
Well, hey, to take a little bit of a break just for our sponsor right quick. And if you guys have any questions for Dana and getting your live stream started, please type those in your comments and we'll get them up, and we'll be back in just a minute. Stay tuned, guys. Every client is unique and has different needs. Whether it's a growing family, a first-time buyer, an investor, or someone looking to downsize, I am here to help guide them through the process. My name is Todd Cartner. I am a realtor with Exit Coast Real Estate Pros. I serve Myrtle Beach and the surrounding area, and there is no place I would rather have my family call home. You need a realtor you can trust and will put your needs first. I want to become your lifetime realtor. If you are looking to buy or sell real estate, please give me a call. I look forward to speaking with you soon. All right, good afternoon, folks, and welcome back to Myrtle Beach Living Live. I'm Todd Cartner, your host, and today we have with us Dana Bentz, who is from Portland, Oregon, and she is the marketing director for Streamyard, which is the software we're using to produce this show. So welcome back, Dana.
Thank you.
I noticed that looking at your YouTube channel, it seems like you've been doing, you've had your channel for a little over 2 years. Have you been doing videos before that? Because it looked like you started doing real estate videos, marketing updates, that kind of.
Yeah. So I think I started. So I the very first time I went live, like I actually used Facebook Live, was at an open house. I think it was like 3-4 years ago. Beauty Bubble, thanks for tuning in. I know. I love this show. Todd, I just want to say that I think my favorite part is your commercial break in the middle. Like I love that. Like we'll just take a break and we'll come right back. It's like real TV. Yeah,
and I don't really promote myself as an agent on the show. It's more about Myrtle Beach and what's going on. And right. The reason I've asked you to be on is because so many people have commented on the show and said, I would like to start a show as well. So I said, this would be some good feedback for them. So, we should talk about, we can talk about starting a show and what all that involves. But the very first time I went live was back when I was in real estate. And I thought it was a great way to market myself because when you went live back then, everyone in your friends list got a notification. So it was like the best way to get yourself out there. Now Facebook prioritizes things differently, like with their algorithm. They prioritize the more engaging content rather than just sending a notification out to every single person, because now a lot of people are going live. So that would be like a nightmare if everyone got a live notification. So that was way back then. I'm sorry, go ahead.
That's okay. I was just going to say that was my very first start into live streaming. And then I made some pre-recorded video content while I was a real estate agent because I thought video was such a great way to connect with other people and like introduce them to what I do. And if they saw me on camera, I kind of felt like they would kind of get to know me and like, oh, okay, so this is Dana. This is like kind of how she works. This is how she talks. She talks about the market. She like tours these nice homes. I can work with her. Like I thought that was a good introduction to me as a real estate agent. And then I started a live stream show just like this one on my personal Facebook profile back when I was in real estate. So I started it on, pardon?
The Dana Show?
Yep, the Dana Show. Yeah. Good, Todd. Wow, you really stalked me. Just kidding. So I started that show. I used StreamYard. It was like way back in the day when there weren't as many cool features as there are now. So I just had like a black background and like a little logo that said the Dana Show. That's it. And so I had these guests on from around the world. I would interview other real estate agents, other business owners, just people in the world that had something to do with real estate. Like I had a lot of investors on the show where we talked about, like I had one guy who was on talking about Airbnb for real estate and that type of stuff. So it was kind of all over the place. But I felt like it was such a great outlet for me to like put out other kinds of content. Like before my interview show, I was just touring homes and like people might've gotten bored with that. So I really liked having this show where I could introduce like other types of content to my profile or to my channel. And then I got bored of that show. And I was like, I don't want to interview people anymore. So I closed that show down. I made the transition out of real estate into working for StreamYard. And then I was like, I really want to have a show again. Like I miss going live. I miss having interviews like this interview. Like it was so much fun to me to go live and to be able to meet new people, meet them online, like meet them in a show like this and interview them almost like a talk show host. Like you're kind of like a talk show host when you have your own live stream show, which I really loved. Like I loved that aspect of live streaming. And so that's when I started the StreamYard Spotlight show. And then I was like, well, I want to do that. And I want to also add something where I can kind of start building my personal brand, like my Dana Bentz brand, instead of just, oh, this lady who works for Streamyard.
Right. And it is the hardest part of doing a show is to build your audience. That's the hardest part. But it's getting to the point, because with StreamYard, you can now, with the paid version, you can go to 8 different platforms that you can subscribe to. So that's Facebook pages, Facebook groups. You can go to YouTube. You can go to LinkedIn. You can go to Twitter. You can't do Instagram yet, but they're working on that, I hope.
Not yet.
Yeah, but you can stream live directly into a website. There's so many things you can do. But the beauty of it is that it holds the show, so people can go back and watch it many times later if it's not live.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And a lot of people get the majority of their views on the replay. Like they don't get too many people tuning in live, especially if we're going live like in the middle of the day where people are at work. And it makes sense that most of the viewers are on the replay.
Right. Exactly. So I love it a lot. But so let's talk about what do you see as the advantages of live streaming versus podcast?
Ooh, so I like to think of live streaming like a podcast with video, but live streaming also lets you, so that's one pro, is like people are able to connect with you in a different way. Like they're able to watch the podcast instead of just listening and doing something else, like going for a walk or working out. It's kind of like they have, like you're giving them the full senses when you're live streaming your podcast. But another thing that is super great, and this is why I like live streaming over podcasting for my own personal show, is that it cuts out all editing time. Like if you've ever done a podcast or edited a podcast, like it takes so much time to edit out like what parts you want, where you want which question to go, and like add your intro and add your outro. And it's just like a nightmare. And adding your sponsorship spots, like it takes so long. But when you go live, you add your intro video like you had at the start, and then you have your sponsorship right in the middle. And then we're just talking like we would in a podcast. And then we'll have an outro, and then that's it. Like that's the show. And you can download the audio and you can still have a podcast, right? Like, so you're able to do both at the same exact time. So that's why I really like live streaming, because I hate editing. Like it's just a nightmare for me.
Well, and there's a software called Anchor Podcast that you can literally take the YouTube video, upload the URL to the Anchor, and it automatically turns it into a podcast for you. I love that. I love that. That's actually, I didn't know that, Todd. What I do is I just download my MP3 file from StreamYard and then I upload it to Anchor. But you're saying you could just URL it right in there and it pulls out the audio. And it's so simple.
Good tip.
We have a weekly guest on here.
Beverly, hello.
See you, Beverly. Thank you so much for joining us. And I'm going to add a couple other things to what you commented on. The one thing I like about this platform versus a podcast is that here the viewer can type in their comments and you can get them on right away. Every time you see them, and I know that some of your shows, especially when Gage and Dan do their show, the StreamYard each week, there's so many comments they can't get to all of them. There is no way. But people can get back, and I know that a lot of times after the show we'll go back and answer questions if we can't get to them live. So that's pretty cool too. So
and that helps your show grow so much because of how the algorithms prioritize content now. And like it helps you get new engagement, and then the more engagement you have, the more they show the algorithm shows your content to new people and more people, because they just want you to be engaged as possible on their platforms. So it makes sense that they're going to prioritize your content. But that's such a good point that like with podcasts, you're just listening. Like you can't ask those guests any questions, but when it's a live stream, you can.
And you made a good comment or a good point there that people are out walking, listening to it, and they get distracted. So they're not focused on the show like they are with a live stream. And another thing is I have a community as a real estate agent. I have a community Facebook group that is my surrounding area. And it's just It's the Forest Brook area, and it's called Forest Brook Community News. And people post
cool.
things about garage sales, and if a lost puppy or whatever, some
cool.
owners will post stuff. So it's pretty simple. But we stream live there as well. So
smart.
I go to the grocery store now, and I saw your show the other day, and that kind of stuff.
No way. Oh, that's a great idea. That's really a great idea. It's like another place where you're able to get new viewers, relevant viewers too.
And you made a great point earlier that I meant to touch on, is that people get to know you. And when you're in any sales position, whether it's real estate or even marketing position, if it's real estate, if it's you or a car salesman at a dealership or whatever it is, people want to do business with people they know, like, and trust.
Yes.
And a great way to do it is by doing the live videos. So
you're so right. Yeah, that's a great point.
So Dana, I feel that the COVID era that we had in the spring, even though it's still going on, it wasn't the impact that it was in the spring. I think more people have been introduced to live streaming. And I also think that live streaming has changed the game, not just in real estate, but across the board. A lot of people are doing, even with things like Zoom, like our office, for example, we have a weekly meeting that is, we do it through GoToMeeting. But everybody's on the screen, everybody's interacting and everything. And so live streaming has really taken a huge step up. The thing I like the most about Streamyard is that Dan engaged the founders, love to listen to their users.
Yes.
They've implemented so many things. And I think with Streamyard or Streamyard Spotlight, you're on episode 22, 23?
I think so. 23 or 24.
Well,
it's something like that.
This is our 20th episode. So I'm
on
your
team. You are.
Don't take a week off. But just in the 20 weeks that I've been doing it, they have added so many things that are so cool. I actually had a gentleman on a few weeks ago, and he said to me, I love your house. Where are you? Where do you live? Where is your house? Yeah. And I'm like, well, it's under the sea.
I love that. Oh my gosh.
Here's a green screen, guys. So I don't mind sharing it, but I like the background. It makes me feel like I'm relaxed at home. It really makes a difference. But
yeah, it's so relevant to the purpose of your show. It's like Todd the realtor is in a cool house.
So where do you think, as a marketing person, especially with StreamYard and such a great platform, where do you think live streaming is heading in the near future?
In the near future, I don't think it's going away. I think it's only kind of going up. And we did see a lot of that right in the beginning of lockdown. Like when everyone was stuck at home, it was like, how do we stay in touch with our customers, our clients, our businesses? Like, how are we going to market to these people when everyone's at home? So I think in the beginning of lockdown, it was kind of just like, more and more people were starting to talk about it, starting up their own shows, like figuring it out. And now I think a lot of people have figured it out, but I think there's still more and more people who are like, I think now's a perfect time. Like, I think I should start a show now. Like, I'm still seeing people start new things constantly. And I just watched a YouTube video by Sean Cannell. He's a big YouTuber that I really like his tips on video content. He talks a little bit about live streaming, but more about like video content in general. And he was just saying, a lot of people kind of get scared, like, should I start a YouTube channel now? Like, I feel like it's really crowded, like everyone's going live. But his kind of thought is there are billions of people watching content, consuming content right now because we're all still at home. Like, I'm still in lockdown. I know some people are out of lockdown now, but like we're still in lockdown here. So like there's still so many people consuming content, like that there's space for you to start a show. Like there's space for you to put out your valuable, helpful, maybe it's educational, maybe it's entertainment type of content. Like there's still a place for you in this world. So that being said, I think live streaming is just going to increase. Like I kind of felt like, well, maybe when lockdown's over, live streaming will stop or live streaming will kind of go back to how it was, but it does not look like that. It looks like it's here to stay and it's only like going up. Like more and more people are starting shows.
Well, and I know that some of the features that have been asked of StreamYard, and I know that it's not like you hit a button and boom, there are the features on. You got to develop it, so it takes.
I think some of our customers think it's that easy, though.
Right, I would say that sometimes, but yeah, I agree. But things like doing live polls where you can talk to the audience.
That
things
would be really cool.
And you can actually have 8 guests on the show at one time. To me, that's too many.
I know.
It's
really cool for like an event, like a panel where there's like a lot of people and one host. I think that's a really cool way, but I've never tried it. I think the max guests I've had is like 3.
So, but I think that there's going to be more of this style, and you can have 10 real estate agents that have 10 different live talk shows. And all 10 of them have different personalities, whether they're male or female, to that level, because there's some narrow-minded people out there that can only work with female realtors or only male, whatever. But but I think that there's enough out there that, like we said, you get to know them, like them, and trust them. And when they do, that's what's going to make their show take off. So I think it's really cool. And I know we're after 1 o'clock here, but I do want to ask you one last question, and that is, if someone's looking to start a show, what tips would you give them?
I love that question because I know a lot of people are nervous about starting a new show because it kind of feels like public speaking, like when you're like going live. But I think the first tip I would have for you if you're considering starting a show is like, just get started. Like, don't let the fear of perfection or the fear of having a really cool graphic like Todd, like the fear of not being ready. I don't think you should let that hold you back from just starting. Like, just go live, like just invite a guest, like just see how you like it, how you like going live. And then once you get started, you can start getting better, but you can't get better. Like, you can't get to great without starting first. So I think that's like my biggest tip for the people who are kind of on the fence. But then once you do get started, or if you have gotten started already, the biggest, like the hardest part and the thing that sets you apart from most people is if you're consistent. Like, that's it. If you're consistent, like your show, every like 20 weeks in a row, no breaks, consistent, every single week, people know what they get. It's every Wednesday, 12:30, like we know it. So I think that's the next hardest part, because that takes stamina. Like, getting started doesn't take stamina. It just might take a little courage. But I think it takes stamina to be 20 weeks into a show or 93. I don't know how many shows Gage and Dan are in, but they're in.
What's the plans for the 100th show? And they won't answer me.
I know. We got to plan something, Todd. I don't know what we're going to do.
Right.
But that's going to be a fun show. So I think that's my biggest tip is like, just start and stick with it. Just see how you like it.
Yeah. And I'm going to add 2 tips to it since we're on that topic. Number one is that, and I hear this all the time with agents that I do business with, is I don't like the way I look on video. Well, do you like the way you look when you walk into the grocery store? Because you're the same person. You're not going to change your look just to go to the grocery store or whatever. So people get to know you for who you are. They love, like, and trust you, like we said.
That's so true.
But be yourself. The thing I like about live video is that if you mess up, then that shows you're human. And people know that. So they
can relate to that.
They absolutely can. They don't want to be, the Barbara Walters or the whoever, this all the time, boom, 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 boom. Right. They mess up too. So so just be yourself. That's what people are going to like, and that's how you're
and your audience members are coming to you for the content. They're not coming to watch your show because you look nice today or like you have a cool shirt on. Maybe Kels came to the show because I have a cool shirt. But your audience members, like, they care about the content. Like, they're going to watch you for the content. And that's why, like, having the right camera doesn't matter. Like, you don't have to have a $3,000 camera to put out a good live stream. That's the nice thing.
Right there.
Exactly.
is mobile.
Exactly.
So that's all you need.
That's all you need. Yeah.
My other tip was that keep it simple. Now, my show's a 30-minute show. I know that StreamYard Spotlight, you try to keep it around 20 minutes. Yeah. That's fine. That's no problem. I have a commercial in mind to promote me as a realtor, but I also have a sponsor. That sponsor pays me $50 a month, which pays for my StreamYard Pro version.
Nice. Love it, Todd.
It's for the outfits.
I only watch for the outfits. I knew it.
Kelsey, I know you've done a show with shorts on and flip-flops or barefoot with a nice top. I know you have.
Haven't we all?
But my other suggestion would be that when you start a show, keep it simple. So instead of talking about the process of buying a home, break it down. The first thing you need to do is get qualified. You speak to a lender. So that's one episode. Then you talk about, when you go to look for something, make your home, make a list and what your pros and cons, what you must have and what you can get by with, or what you like to have, but you don't have to have it. That's an episode. Talk to you about, the lending process and going through getting approved for the loan. Talk about a home inspection. Talk about your termite inspection. Talk about, if you're selling a home, do you need to stage it? Talk about the attorney process. I can take the process of buying a home and make 12 or 15 videos just like that. There's only 52 weeks in a year. So only 52 episodes to make a whole year's worth of shows. Right. And I can do 12 or 15 with buying a home. I can do another 12 or 15 on selling a home. So right now I'm at 24 to 30 and over half the year is done.
That is so smart.
So
just like that. Yeah.
You don't have to go crazy. And I will tell you, the more you do a show, the more people want to be on your show. You come up with new ideas of a guest. Like you just made a comment earlier that you had someone on that talks about Airbnbs. Guess what I'm going to be doing? I'm going to be searching out somebody that does Airbnbs. Airbnb, I can have them on the show. So it gives you those ideas and it makes it so nice. So anyway, thank you guys for joining us today. Dana, thank you so much for being on. I've looked forward to this all week. And
me too, Todd. Thank you so much for having me on. It was such a pleasure to be here.
Absolutely. And I can't wait to use StreamYard forever. And, I do have another show that I'm wanting to do, that I'm wanting to come up with. And, and I think we talked about this on your show. And it was postponed a little bit, but we're wanting to do a virtual tour real estate show to where I have agents at a home and we just go and switch to them live. So people can ask questions. They can, kind of get to see the home. And
that's a great idea. Yeah,
it is. It's a lot of work.
Yeah.
And that's the things that we had the issue with, because the first one that we were trying to test, the internet signal was not good there. So it kind of broke up and we were just testing it. Thank goodness. But anyway, Beauty Bubble, Beverly, Kelsey, Dylan, all you people that joined us today, thank you so much. I appreciate it. And we will see you guys next week here, Wednesday, live on your social media channel.
See ya.
Thanks, Dave.